On today's Hall of Fame, we're going to talk about a serious and sensitive subject that affects millions of kids, maybe even some of you watching today.
The problem is that it often remains a secret. What we're talking about is living with a parent or parents who are alcoholics or whose drinking bothers you.
Growing up in an alcoholic home can be very difficult. You may feel totally alone or that somehow it's your fault, but you don't have to live with those feelings or your fears.
We sent our cameras to a place where teens can express themselves and learn about the disease of alcoholism. It's called Alateen, and it's a self-help group that meets on a regular weekly basis.
You'll notice we don't disclose the identity of any of the teens. That's because they wish to remain anonymous, but what they had to say is important. Watch.
To kids who live with an alcoholic, life can seem like a no-win situation. But today, there's a support group available that's giving them a chance to deal with their feelings and to realize they're not alone. The group is called Alateen. It's a support group run for and by teens. Each person has an opportunity to share his or her feelings and any problems that have come up.
Okay, we're going to open this meeting now to free share. When he'll call up and he's drunk or something, if he insists on talking about something, I just basically play the yes game. Yes, Dad, you're right, Dad, you're right. Because the way I look at it is there's no way that we can talk when he's drunk because he hears me, but he doesn't listen.
The family situation hasn't really improved that much, but I feel that, I've improved. I've kind of stepped away from that and been able to help myself.
The program teaches teens how to cope with their family situations, not by giving advice, but by allowing them to share their problems and feelings in a safe place. By listening to the experiences of others, these teens learn to gain control over their own lives.
But the most important thing I got, which I never thought was important, was self-esteem and believing in myself and believing that I can really do anything.
If something makes me mad or if the alcoholic is mad, that doesn't mean I have to get upset or mad. It's my choice now if I'm going to let that affect me. It's how I react or don't react to the situation.
At the end of each meeting, everyone joins hands and shares in a prayer of faith, hope, and love.
It's not what happens, I think, in our lives. I think it's how we deal with what happens. That's very important.
Alateen and other programs exist throughout the country. You don't have to try to cope with your family situations on your own.
Joining us now are two teens that are willing to share with us their stories and answer our questions. Next to me is Erica, and next to her is Michael. Hey, guys.
Hello. Hi. Erica, your dad is a recovering alcoholic, which means he's sober and he stopped drinking. Did you ever think that his behavior was normal and that everybody's dad acted the way yours did?
No, because when I went over to my friend's house, their parents didn't drink like my parents did. I mean, they could have one drink, and instead my dad has to have a million.
Did you ever think that his drinking or his behavior was your fault?
Yes, because he told me it was, and I respected what he thought, and I believed it, and I heard it so much that I started believing it even more.
Mike, did you feel that what was going on in your house was normal?
Yes, because I wasn't aware of anything different. I thought yelling every night and just like screaming and anger all the time was normal because that's what I was used to.
Were you ever scared?
Yeah, because my dad was a lot bigger and still is than I am, and when he yells, it's really scary. It's just the size difference.
Did you think that if only you did better in school or behaved better around the house, things would change?
Yeah, because I thought if I did good, there wouldn't be a focus around me, there would be no problems, and things would become better because there'd be less to worry about.
That must have been hard. There are kids here today that have questions they'd like to ask. Keri and Dale are in our studio audience. Dale, do you have someone with a question?
Yes, I do. Who's your question for?
For Erica. Were you ever embarrassed to bring your friends over to your house because you were afraid that your dad might make a scene?
Yes, I was, because I didn't want him acting up, or I didn't want them to go off and tell their parents about how my dad reacts. So, and then if I brought my friends over, I thought I might have no friends because my dad would sit there and shoo them away. My dad didn't drink at work. When he got home, he would sneak around a few beers, and then he'd get more and more, and then next minute, he was so upset that you'd have to leave the house sometimes.
So you'd leave the house and just, like, hide or go to a friend's house?
Yes, because sometimes you can't deal with it because you can't stop them. I mean, you can't sit there and say, Dad, would you please quit being that way. He gets more emotional. He gets more uptight. And he doesn't know what's happening, too, sometimes.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, it's for either of them. When your father was an alcoholic, did your personality change where your friends thought that something might have been bothering you?
Yes, because I'd be in a grumpy mood, or I'd just be, or I wouldn't speak and be quiet a lot.
Okay, do you have a question?
Were you ever angry at your mother for not leaving your father?
All the time. I mean, I said, Mom, you can do better. And I always say that. And now since my dad pretty much cut down drinking or stopped drinking, I still haven't figured that out. I realize he does love me, and it was the alcohol, not him.
Have you totally forgiven your parents for what they've said and done to you?
And sometimes it hurts so much, it's just hard to forget. But then sometimes it hurts so bad, you can't even remember it, you know. It's a long time ago.
Erica, do you remember the first thing that made you realize that your father's drinking was a serious problem?
Yes, because he had these mood swings where he would be happy and next minute he would be going, get out of my way, and, yelling a lot.
Now that you know some more about the disease and how it affects people, and just how can you stop a person from drinking?
Well, you can't really stop them. If they want to stop drinking, they'll do it on their own. You can't stop them.
I have a question. Erica, how did all this make you feel about yourself?
I got upset a lot, and I felt like trash. I mean, my dad didn't care about me. I figured, well, who else would?
Michael, how did you feel?
It just made me scared. It didn't really make me feel bad about myself. It made me feel like I was all alone now. When I found out about it, I thought all my friends would hate me if they ever found out.
Is there anyone else with a question?
Yes, now that have all been going for help and that now that your problem seems to be getting better, how do you see your future relationship with your fathers?
Mine's shaping up a lot. I feel a lot better with my dad. Now I feel like I can talk to him.
Have either of your fathers become abusive towards you?
Yes, they have. Physically and kind of spiritually, too, of what he says to you really gets you down. And you feel exactly what I said, like trash, and so you don't know. You get used to it, so then if other people treat you like that, who cares? You start giving up.
What kind of advice would you give to other teens that have alcoholic parents to help them let their parents get help?
Sometimes they'll have to do it on their own. They will want to do it, and you can't force them. You can mention, you can look up in the phone book, Alcoholics Anonymous and stuff. They have things like that where they can find it, but I try to press my parent, and I learned that you don't do that because it makes things worse. They drink more and stuff.
Erica, what can you do to help yourself?
Talk to my school counselor, talk to my friends, talk to my mom, and keep my self-esteem up.
And Michael, what have you done to help yourself?
Just to express my feelings because I feel I stuff them inside, and then I become quiet and insecure, and I don't know, it just doesn't feel right when I do that, so I try to express myself and how I feel.
Erica, Michael, thank you so much for being here. I know it took a lot of courage to come here and talk about this. What advice do you have to other kids out there who might be living with an alcoholic parent or parent?
That they're not the only ones that have gone through this, and there is help out there.
And to talk to somebody you trust, because it's scary, and you just need to, feel compassion from somebody else.
That's good advice.
Well, before we wrap this up, I'd like to remind anyone watching today, if you can identify with anything you've just heard, talk to someone you trust. Check out an Alateen meeting or a similar program. They're listed in your phone book, or ask your guidance counselor for assistance. You'll be surprised at how many people will understand and can help.
Now we'd like to welcome Erica and Michael into our Hall of Fame by presenting them with these Mickey Awards. Congratulations.